So, my life before Christ. When God forgives you, He says He throws it in the ocean and, never to be seen again, basically. But, He does that. But we're human, and that's not as easy for us to do. We all have our regrets in life, and I have many. I've been mean and nasty to those I love most in life. I did things that, were quite honest, illegal, and, shouldn't have done. Some drug abuse, alcohol abuse, driven when I shouldn't have driven. Wasn't always the best mother. Wasn't always the best wife. And had no joy in my life. I was self-centered, I was selfish. And that's where those actions come from. But the best thing is that when you give your life to Christ, that He allows you forgiveness for all that. And He allows you to forgive yourself for all that. Because that's the hardest part, really, is forgiving yourself. So I grew up in the church, but not real loyal to it. So, but they did have a great Youth for Christ ministry, and so they would do functions for the youth, and we went to different ones. I actually went to Canada with them one time, and that's when I first confessed my sins to Christ and asked Him into my heart. But the kicker is that I didn't feel like I was really, my life still hasn't changed. So I just remember one night laying in bed and, the Holy Spirit really speaking to me and saying, you need to decide if this is what you want to do with your life. And I just remember, I know that a lot of people remember dates and times, and I just remember the feeling more than anything. And it was like, I just remember just crying out to God. And I remember laying on the floor of my bedroom, broken down, burdened with the guilt in my life and the things that I had done wrong, and just crying out to God for forgiveness. I needed that in my life. I needed to feel forgiven and feel loved, because, unconditional love isn't something you can get from anyone but God. And I just remember coming off of that floor and feeling unconditional love for the first time in my life. And it is a new life. When God says, I give you a new life, it's the truth. That's the way I felt. I felt like it was a new beginning for me. I felt like that burden of my guilt had been lifted off my shoulders, and I felt unconditional love. We didn't go to church for the first good part of our marriage, and we had at some point decided that that's something we needed to do for our children. Now, they weren't young, but they were something they needed in their life, we felt. We started church hunting, and we ended up coming to West Side, and it's funny because the first time I came, they were having a Spanish function, and the service was actually in Spanish, so we didn't even really understand anything. And God has a funny way of working things, because we came back, and it's probably at God's prompting that happened, but we did come back, and we continued to come back, and we've been coming a long time, but it's not just a church for us anymore. It's family, it's people that we love. I have dear friends that we're hoping to travel some now that we're retired, and there'll be friends for my life no matter where I am or what I'm doing, and that's something to be said. You don't find that often, so I'm grateful for that. I love my church, and I love my church family.